Scope is a term we use to refer to the devices and users receiving management tasks. Whether we're deploying configuration profiles, apps, or books, we must configure Scope to ensure devices receive those management tasks. My name is Kendall, and welcome to Device Scope. 3 options are available when scoping to devices: targets, limitations, and exclusions. This video will focus on targets and exclusions. Say we have 10 mobile devices under management belonging to various buildings and departments, and we want to scope a configuration profile to provide those devices access to the company Wi-Fi. We could scope this to all devices, which would send the configuration profile to all 10 of them. Scope can be narrowed by targeting specific buildings like New York. This would deploy the configuration profile to devices belonging to that building. We can further specify our scope by excluding a group. Perhaps we don't want test devices automatically connecting to that network. Excluding them will leave only a few devices in scope, those in New York who do not belong to the test device group. Let's look at another example. Say we have 4 devices: Delta, Lima, Sierra, and X-Ray. If we deploy an app targeting all devices, every device will receive the app. If we can target a specific department, like sales, and only the devices in that department will receive the app. In this case, Lima and X-Ray, whereas Delta and Sierra will not because they're in marketing and finance. We can also target multiple departments. Let's send the app to sales and marketing, but exclude the Austin building. Now the app is available to Lima and Sierra, and even though X-Ray is a part of the sales department, they will not receive the management task because they're in Austin, which is excluded from the scope. Exclusions will always take precedence over targets, so keep that in mind. Let's take a look at Scope in Jamf Pro. Select the Devices tab and navigate to Configuration Profiles on the left. If you're unfamiliar with configuration profiles, I'd recommend checking out our video covering configuration profiles for devices. I have a few configuration profiles here. Currently, there is no scope defined on these profiles, meaning the settings will not be applied to any devices. If we want to deploy Wi-Fi settings to devices in the Amsterdam building, we can select the profile, select Edit, click the Scope tab along the top, and select the Targets menu. The 2 options are either all devices or specific devices. Since we don't want this profile to go to every managed device, we can leave specific devices selected, as we will be targeting devices specifically in the Amsterdam building. Click the Add button, then Buildings, and add Amsterdam. Now that we have the scope defined, click Save. Clicking Done will take us back to the list of configuration profiles, and now we can see the scope for Amsterdam Wi-Fi is the Amsterdam building. Similarly, if we want to deploy a Wi-Fi profile to all devices in the US, we can add multiple targets. Select the US Wi-Fi profile, click Edit, and Scope. Select Add to Specific Targets, then Buildings, and add each building in the United States: Cupertino, Eau Claire, Minneapolis, and New York. Click Save and then Done to take us back to the configuration profiles. Here we can see the US profile is now scoped to 4 buildings. Finally, let's deploy some restrictions. Say these are general restrictions that should be applied to all devices except maybe the IT department. They will need greater access to their device's features. Select the Restrictions profile, click Edit, and Scope. Here's a use case where we can select all mobile devices from the Target menu. Then select the Exclusions tab, and add to the right, and select Departments and IT. By excluding the IT department, they will not receive these restrictions. Click Save and then Done. Now we can see the scope for the Restrictions profile is all mobile devices, with any devices in the Information Technology department being excluded. It's important to stay mindful when configuring scope. We want to make sure the correct devices receive appropriate management, and just as important, the devices are not receiving the wrong apps or restrictions. That's all for this video on scoping to devices. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.